And we're live, I think.
Yeah, we are.
Yay, we are live.
I just wanted you to be like me and constantly question existence.
I had to. It's a
Welcome
requirement
to the
around
constant
here.
state of fear that is my mind.
There, now live.
All right, so ATL happened. Apparently, Kevin Broberg bettered everybody, including La Bamba. We
I
have the
managed to take one down.
what?
I managed to take one down.
He did. He did manage to take one down. I mean,
Uh,
he had to make up for being giggled at the Rochester PTC.
we got two videos from KOF
Mm-hmm.
preview. We got Team Southtown. We got the Nightmare Geese trailer. Then we get to question Jasco Games on that new marvelous event of Chris Pratt versus Jason on a Magic Sneak Peek weekend. Is Jason mad or was just this bad timing? So,
I
uh,
think we'll talk about that. We'll get. I'm gonna give my dissenting opinion and actually defend Jasco on this one. But all right, first let's run down the ATL Smackaroo event of Doom. It seems because it was 44 players showed up to this event.
Yeah, the largest PT. I mean, not to toot my own horn excessively, but it's the largest PTC I believe that Jasco Games ever supported. It's been sponsored by Jasco Games.
Yeah.
We actually had 8 more people than the kit that Shane recommended. So we had a bit of promotional troubles because we were just that popular.
Yeah, mainly because I think this PTC really got hyped because, well, there's no event at Gen Con, so everybody was like, I'm just going to go to Atlanta instead. And it looks like.
Yeah, I think Atlanta. I mean, a lot of people didn't have to travel quite as far for Atlanta as they would for events. I mean, a lot of people are used to having a summer travel destination event for Gen Con, so they just redirected to Atlanta, like you said. And the Atlanta Play Group showed up in force too. I know there's a lot of people who kind of moved away from the game and who definitely showed up. Again.
I mean, you diversified one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
When I saw the pairings for the last round, I'm like, well, can Kevin lock Phil Birch out here? That's the question.
Yeah, we were both 4-1 going into that round, and Bo asked us. So, maybe there's a policy, maybe there isn't. We weren't explicitly sure whether or not there's, you're supposed to pair up the diversity matches prior to the last, in the last round, so that you don't have to do the extra diversity match to decide the person who gets the top 8 without the heads up breaker, because we hadn't played heads up yet. And he just said, if you want to do that, we can set the pairings up for you to do that. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? At first we all were just like, whatever, and then I broke the tie by just deciding to let's go for it.
Let's see who's better.
And I would say that's inconclusive. We were playing different builds of the deck, I think, a little bit. We certainly had different sideboard technology going on. The roll, but then we both held serve for the first 2 games. But then in game 3, he had a lot of bad luck, and I had a little bit of good luck. And then there were some tight plays, and I managed to pull it out.
Good. Let's talk about this deck of yours. You played Air Felicia, but it's kind of like a hybrid of everything Air's got going for it right now.
So the big difference between this deck and so there's really 2 inspirations here. One of them is just the deck that Mark LeBlanc from Calgary played at Worlds. Was really, I mean, a lot of credit. That was a lot of the skeleton, and that's how I built my deck for the roster PTC as well. But then also just improvements on the roster PTC deck. There were 2 big main deck cards that I added, which are Black Justice, which is returning from the Worlds build, is just like a 0 cost, just review step. And now you get a huge advantage of taking a foundation away from your opponent, and also Felicity House. And so the thing that I love about Felicia are just the 2 cards, Dancing Flash and Delta Kick, because they give you so many options and so much power at the same time. And Felicity House specifically lets you do a really disgusting play where you play an attack and then bounce a copy of either Push the Limit or Summer Heat, replay that foundation, and then drag it straight down to your staging area. And then you can use checks that same turn, or even play another Delta Kick or another Dancing Flash, pick it up again, then replay it again.
Oh.
or you get extra. So, or the other obvious mode where you just you start the turn with no summer heats in your staging area. Play a summer heat, draw a card, pull it down, delta kick, tap the summer heat to pass the check even, pick it up, replay it, draw another card, and you just like build your own Sagaki offering out of this attack that does so much more for your deck on top of it.
Wow. So just like a lot of crazy inner workings of the deck liking itself. Like I like how the biggest thing I like about it, it's not a hard-on Navos deck, but it has the kick elements. It's not a like it's almost like a Felicia deck, and like it's all the basis of Felicia. Like you're playing Dancing Flash, you're playing Rolling Cutter, you're playing Cat Spike, you're playing Delta Kick, and then you got like those little extras to just kind of make it your own style, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, the reversals are really huge for the character. Just the whole game plan where you just land hits on people on their own turn is so disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And you also get plus 2 to your check when you do that. So it's like you pass a 5 check to play your Hienshibu Keiaku and slap them forward, get you to draw a card, and then if like that 5 check you just made counts plus 1 towards your next control check too.
Yep.
So
nice.
The reason I played this deck is just that it's really fun. I already had it built, and I had a lot of improvements I wanted to make. I had a pet new card to try out with Felicity House that I can't say exceeded my expectations, but it's really helped me win all the games that I played it.
And it's a card that hasn't seen a lot of play. It's kind of in that, like, I'll hear people like, oh, it's kind of cool. Like, I played it in my, I played it in my Water Ride and Tornado Kick special because it was just a way to get more unquestionable loyalties into the play. That's all I used it for. But it does work in a lot of decks. Like, gives you extra blocks. It gives you foundations off. You can play off-symbol foundations. You can do some cool things with it. I'm like, it's good to see it in competitive decks.
I think that if I had to pick a single theme for this deck, it'd be power and flexibility. There's a lot of kind of nut draws, like little combinations, like Summer Heat House. But all the cards, every single card in the deck is just really solid. It's really good on its own, and they also work together really well.
I also noticed you're playing Polar Warp. That's another card that's kind of seen tech play, but not a lot lately. And
I do love that card so much.
I agree.
So, I don't know if anyone has registered an Air Felicia deck with Polar Warp in it before, because that card does not have air.
No, it doesn't. That's a big thing to notice about that. It has chaos, right? That's its match symbol.
Yep. So the reason I put Polar Warp in my deck was that I lost to Evil Natalie, or Fire Natalie actually, at the Rochester Pro Tour. Fire Natalie is Dragon Flare Natalie, really. That's a very powerful deck that you have to respect. And Dragon Flare itself is really it looks like a counter to Felicia, like the kind of card that would murder Felicia.
Yeah.
Given that I'm playing Felicia, I kind of have to respect that. Well, Polar Warp doesn't do anything to Dragon Flare, but it does 2 things to decks that contain Dragon Flare, which are cancel Self-Destruct, which is another card that's just annoying as hell, especially for a deck like Ringman or Natalie that can attack on turn 1.
Yep.
And it cancels Natalie's Pennant card and destroys it.
Yep.
And that's what I put it in the deck for. And then on top of that, it also would cancel out one of the new cards that I thought would be especially high impact and very powerful, and destroys it, which is Dream of Fate Line. Yep.
You think it's a lot? Looking over, the only if I looked over this right, the only people who played champ cards in their decks were really the people who had them. Not had them. I mean, they were the players. Jeremy Ray played his Foundation, and Dave and Ben played theirs and their assets. But I don't. And then the Athena deck randomly had it in there too.
Yeah. The Athena deck had some. I know. Piglet had 4 copies of Crime Fighting in his deck.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're right. So okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if everyone who showed up was certain they would be able to get them, and so built around them. I doubt that everyone had confidence in the exact way that Partners in Crime Fighting would work in this tournament.
Yeah.
That you used it as
that still
Shinobi.
seems to be up for debate right now. But we'll get to that once we get a stamp from Jasco. So let's hit the next deck up. We had Rodney Garland Jr.
No. We have to say this right.
Sir
Michael Rodney
Michael.
Garland Jr.
Sure. Playing.
Excuse me. This was actually Michael Garland Jr.
I am sorry, Kevin. It specifically says here, Sir Michael Rodney Garland Jr.
Oh, okay, my bad. I missed the Michael in there. Yeah.
All right, and he was playing La Bamba. I'm gonna still say this. Brian Fields was the person who innovated the La Bamba deck for Worlds 2 years ago. It's gonna be 2 years ago now, roughly. And I'm happy that this deck is still floating around and keeps getting redesigned and upgraded. And you gotta feel a little proudness about that when you come up with a deck like that. And you're just like, somebody else took it to the next level, and like
yeah,
it does.
End Cells is a card that has an incredibly good effect.
Yeah.
It says add a copy of this card or anything else from your discard pile to your hand. And it says I only have 1 damage, but Bomb Man fills in the holes. For you fills in the holes, you just need +5 damage on the thing, and it's a very, very good card.
Yep.
Yep.
New things that we see in this deck. He added 2 Call of the Storm. I won't lie. I could see where that probably did some work for him.
Yeah.
He actually stun-aided me in the first game that he lost.
Really? He did it and stun-aided you? Wow.
Yep. And then I reversaled him twice anyway.
Oh. Man, that's painful.
See, that's where I
vibes.
call shenanigans.
We always call shenanigans around here.
Well, I mean, stun 8, alright, I'm going to reversal you twice. Like, I call shenanigans.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I really like Call of Storm in this deck. I remember that Ryan Field, his original build was playing Blizzard Sword with Sniper Bomb, and just rolling out the giant stun package on top of backed up by Bomb and 2 damage output. And
So why not play a giant stun move?
Yeah.
Well,
Did he have sideboard, or was he only playing 2 total?
He's only playing 2 total.
Oh my god.
His sideboard was 2 Plum Eaters, 2 Into the Spider's Web, 2 Sting Kick, 2 Pity for a Traitor.
Alright, so I bring that up because in the third game of the finals, he actually checked 2 Call of the Storms as his first 2 control check.
Oh! That's a bad way to start.
Yeah, gets worse. I had applied justice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
we have the worst player in the game, that scumbag, Keenan Meadows.
Keenan Meadows has... I haven't seen his name on a list here in a while. I know he doesn't get to play a lot, but it's good to see Keenan Meadows coming back with some Dimitri game.
He's too busy out being the piano man.
That's true. He brought his upgraded of the Dimitri deck.
Yep.
The biggest additions this deck got: Polar Warp, Darkness Within. Darkness Within is a nut card. I love it. Polar Warp is good. Kevin can attest. Kevin did shenanigans with that card, and I didn't even think it was that good, but it was shenanigans either way.
Wait, he's not playing Polar Warp, right? Like
Portal.
No, he's not playing
Portal Barrier.
Portal Barrier. My apologies, everybody.
Yeah, that card's super good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, so that card is really incredible in Dimitri because Dimitri will almost always put a negative soul into his card pool, and so on your first attack, if you do like a 5 damage move, and he has two Portal Barriers, that negative stolen plus a Patriot Stance. Your 5 damage attack is only draining 1 life away from him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything to accomplish that. It's really powerful.
Other big addition to the deck, he was playing Deathblow, the Gaddafi Throw, which is response from card pool.
Oh, no, that's actually call.
What?
Deathblow multiple. That's every zone.
Oh, that's what Deathblow is. Oh, Jesus! Wow, this sees how much of the new cards I'm still off of. So that was his multiple instead of Search Snake.
Yeah, which I think makes sense because a lot of times, I mean, you're trying to get to a late game and run them out of cards. With huge damage outputs, Surge Snake isn't as quite as reliable as just having a tech that starts at 5. So if you have two Dark Side Masters going on and some chip shot throws, your opponent might have to block on every zone before they can, you know,
Yeah.
if they only have 9 life, they can be in deep trouble when you play the death blows out.
Yeah. Yeah, good showing for Keenan. Getting Dimitri's still out there. He's still a thing, and he's gonna be a thing for a while. He's gonna
Yeah,
he'll be.
I'm not sure that Keenan picked up any losses during the tournament. I think he had 2 draws and went up 4-2.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, speaks to the power of the deck. It's not the fastest deck. I think he got a draw in rounds 1, and I know he got a draw pretty late in the tournament playing against Natali, I think, where there was still a lot of self-destructs going on and couldn't seal the deal. But technically undefeated until the quarterfinals.
Yeah. All right.
Very good deck.
Next up, the legendary David Wagner playing finally himself.
So the only thing I gotta ask about this it's not about this deck, but Dave, when is Google Fiber coming to Nashville? We walk by the Google Fiber store every time me and friends go for ramen, and yet I do not have Google Fiber. Dave Wagner, correct this error.
Pretty much the whole Atlanta, most of the Atlanta, 2 members of the Atlanta crew are just like Google people. But yeah, he played Fire Dave Wagner. He pretty much took. I guess we'll start. Like he's running Jumafei Lion Bunny. He's running Admiral, Toofus, Saw Blades, Homemade Explosives. All really good cards with his ability.
I'm honestly a little disappointed when I saw this deck list. I didn't get a chance to play him, which was also disappointing. But I remember he was talking some good stuff on the forums about how, yeah, you can just play normal good cards with Dave Wagner, but when it's really powerful when you play the crazy nonsense cards. And I was hoping to see at least a Graven Castle Ruins, maybe some Fortress of Bones off symbol, maybe some even weirder stuff that I haven't found yet. And now we just got plain Jane, solid, good cards.
All right. Gentlemen, if you don't mind, I'm going to have to step away for about 5 minutes. I do apologize. I'll be back. Continue running down the deck list, and I'll be back in a few minutes, okay?
All right. So,
Joe, have you got a chance to play with any of these kind of fire aggro decks? 7-hand size, Robot Masters?
We have no endings here. We still have no scene, and we have no endings. It is very unfortunate.
Have you gotten matched up against any Chasm Busters, though? That's a solid one.
I got tons of Chasm Busters. I've got plenty of those.
I think that's a really big role player in this kind of deck. It's got huge speed, starts out at pretty good damage, and it's got a stun that really knocks down your defenses. And if you just eat a Chasm Buster, you can just build and say go and play defense.
Flash Lightning, Shield Ram, Dragon Cannon, Yumbra, Chasm, Smile Missile. Yeah, I can make the attack base on this. This is just really, really good. It's just good fire aggro stuff.
Yep.
How big of a part did the Drumafei Lion Buddy come into play, do you know?
I don't know for certain. I think it's an extremely good card, and I think it definitely helps the deck really string together some attack turns, especially as games. I mean, I think the best part about that card in this deck is that if you don't want to just go in on someone, it can fish through your deck, and almost all of the attacks have great blocks. You have Shield Ram with a +1 high, you have Yami Bra with a breaker +0 mid, you have Flashlight with a 0 low. I don't think there's any. I think the worst block is a 2 mid on Chasm Buster. So that's where I would look for it. If you're trying to just blow people up and get in on turn 2 and turn 3, I don't think it's essential by any means.
Alrighty. Let's move on. We got J-Ray playing J-Ray. Did you get a chance to play him at all?
No, and I didn't really see any of his matches. I have played. I've seen this deck before. I think that the big interaction sort of here is just Head Crush plus Jeremy Ray. If you have a bunch of Head Crushes in your discard pile, you play a mid block card, and you head crush, and you combo it. You pick up another head crush, and then it hits. So you respond with Jeremy Ray and pick up your head crush. And you replay the head crush, and then you combo it and get a third head crush, and you play out 2 more head crushes, and that's 20 damage in throws, all for the low price of playing a bunch of head crushes. And you might say it's crushing to play against.
That pun was awful. If not as bad as if you had the right round on the spinning necro drivers pun, but no,
It's a
this is
really solid deck. It plays a lot of. I mean, it's got a huge amount of vitality, and it's got pretty good. It's got a lot of defense in it too.
This seems like it's got a lot of decent draw. This is a very straightforward build too, from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't try to get you with tricksy nonsense. It just throws you, and then blocks.
Yeah, which I just really like because this is also a deck that you can build for a new player, save for maybe the Death Valley Faceplants, but, that's here nor there because of drive-through, and this would be a great deck for a first-time player, too.
Yeah, and actually, one really cool thing that came out of this PTC is we got a couple preview promotional cards. We got whiteboarded Death Valley Faceplants included in that, which I think are going out for the Exceed Kickstarter as well.
Which we got plenty of. Next up, we got Matt Turner Clark. Is this a more refined Clark, or what's the deal on this one?
I think this deck is really well tuned for what he wanted to accomplish. I know, talking to one of the other Atlanta players, Ian, who is playing Natali, this deck it's not a love letter, it's a hate letter to Natali. This deck murders Dragonflare Natali for breakfast. And I think he also has a really cool option where he sideboards into a high and low mix-up with his multiple attacks, and just says, I'm going to build out, I'm going to play this, this normal Clark game with all this defense and stuff, and then you're going to have to guess, we're going to have to block highs or lows when I start flinging multiple attacks with +4 damage on all of them.
Yeah.
Plus even more with orders from Hyder and what other damage pumps.
Did you get to play him, or did you get to see any other matches with him?
I did have a chance. I had the. I can't say the good luck because he is my teammate. We're good friends.
Yeah.
But we got paired up in the rounds, and I managed to do some Felicia things and take away his staging area just enough to kind of tempo him out with the air cards in my deck. He made it tough though. There's so much defense in this deck, and attacking into him, usually just attacking people as Felicia is usually just incredible, amazing, and always good because you get the momentum into that block, you always get some damage on the board, and you get advantage from your cards. But against Clark, I would attack him, and he would use Clark's response after reducing my damage down to 2, and then he would commit my Ophidiophobia, and now my position looks a lot less tenable than it did before. So it was a really intricate matchup. Very interesting.
I noticed that it's running Chorito. The Chorito Dorito attack. So, what's this doing in Clark now?
So I think, pretty much a lot of decks in the format rely on a lot of high attacks, and that makes people play high blocks naturally. And against Clark, you want to use your high blocks on, you want to block throws, but usually it doesn't matter how you're blocking the throws. You just play whatever's in your hand, whatever's the worst card, play your Templars and stuff. Chirito suddenly makes it very important that you have low blocks. Because, if Clark, chip shots you, gets some throws on the board, puts you at 20 life, and then as his first form plays a Chirito, that's 27 damage. That's 15 half block both. Or half block all 3. And that's just an absurd damage output. And so I think that's just what it's in the deck for, is to give him a way to close out games, even against opponents who are playing a lot of Leaf Shields or are playing a lot of Ophidiophobias.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. The Chorito, I loved it. I had it in my Andy deck for the longest time. That thing was just an ungodly nightmare in that deck off Earth Andy.
Sounds really good, actually. I hadn't.
I'm back again. Hey guys.
All right, we need to stop talking about it.
We're Are we talking
So
about Clark?
I made mention that Chorito's very good in Andy, and we were going to talk about that a little bit. We were talking about how different this Clark deck is and how it made use of the Chorito Dorito attack.
Oh yeah, that was like the coolest thing I saw out of this good deck. I'm like, Chorito, it's just another. It's a finisher.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to do like the Fire Clark order thing that Piglet played for a long time. Really was on a you have to just live, and you eventually just Clark Ultra Buster somebody out of the game. Now you don't do that. Like you can Ultra Buster them, like Ultra Buster you take 11. Now you're like Chorito you eat it. Like this is a really cool deck.
dimension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the good symbol is, I don't want to say it's criminally underplayed because it does have a lot of problems. This deck used to use a lot of cards that people aren't used to seeing coming. Like a new ally is quietly a completely ridiculous card.
Yes.
Isn't that like the Dr. Cossack card?
Yeah, so you reveal the top card of your deck, and then you reduce the damage by X, where X is the block modifier to a minimum of 1, I think. I think it's minimum 1. And so E commit -3 damage most of the time. Like that is not a really good card.
Yeah.
Even for my deck with Nevoses and Robert's up smash and 7 powerful attacks, I had trouble killing this deck.
Oh, wow. All right, moving along, we see that Clint Badger's traded in grown adult Korean Taekwondo men for small Japanese schoolgirls. We promise you there is nothing sexual about that statement in the league. Clint traded in Kim's Kim deck, which he ran really, really well for the longest time for Athena. This looks really, really good. Still very solid. It's really hard not to make a good Athena deck nowadays. This one is, good lord, what's the, tons of assets and actions in this.
Yeah, I mean, this is I think he took some of Kevin's things that Kevin did. I'm going to say this, Kevin, you did wrong at the 2K, and he took them to heart. Like, the fact that he's playing too energetic and clumsy is not a good move. Like, I think if he had taken the moment to consult with you, he would have realized that, like, hey, there's some of these things I did, they were not good, and we knew this after the fact.
I mean, it's really hard to build this deck optimally or correctly. It's so weird, it's so different, and the games play out in such a swingy way. Where things are going good, they're going great, but how great are they really going? It's just so hard to see where things are going. It's such a temperamental deck.
Yeah.
It's really, really powerful. If you haven't seen it in action or heard about it before, this deck is really built around the card Deforester, which lets you destroy and it face down a foundation. And then if the card it was not a foundation, basically, so if the top card isn't a foundation, you get to both draw a card and then replace your face down with a ready card out of your hand.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's in the other order. So you put one card in your hand face down to replace the foundation you just destroyed, and then draw a card to replace the card you put face down.
Yep.
And so you use Beast Form and Tamayose and a couple assets with costs to get a huge staging area advantage, and then just go off on your opponent with a ton of card draw and play huge attack strings. And I actually put this deck twice. We got paired up in Swiss and in Top 8. And it's a scary, scary matchup for any deck. I know I got turned dude in Top 8. Not he just murdered me to death. So he's a hell of a good best card.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm good to see the deck still out there and other people are playing it. That's what I'll really say. It's a good deck. It is not something you have to take the time and build it and make it to your play style. Don't just copy a deck and run it, because you'll have a lot of issues. It always seems like.
Well, I was going to say, if it sounds like something you enjoy is figuring out a puzzle every turn and having really crazy powerful cards going on. Do you like, I don't know, some legacy decks maybe? I'm not sure what this is really like from back in the day. Uh, if you enjoy that, I highly recommend playing this deck. I have a blast playing it, and I really enjoyed playing against it, especially when I managed to pull it out. Because a lot of the cards just put a smile on my face when they hit the table. You can play Karamidama and make people so uncomfortable so uncomfortable about blocking because you'll get to draw like 4 cards. It's just great.
Now, what symbol is this based off of?
This is a void.
This is a mono deck.
Okay, I was going to say, I was wondering, since he's running so few foundations, why is he not running, like, the Eligor stuff that capitalizes on the small foundation base?
That's a really interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that. I do think that since the biggest payoff card in the deck is the Forester, it'll be tricky to multi-symbol it very much because that card doesn't have Void.
I mean, look, I thought Eligor did have Void.
He's got all good order.
Yeah.
He's the same as the Tin Mega Man. Yeah, that is a really interesting direction to go into. I can imagine a good Leona playing Red Lion Crest, I think.
That's what I was talking about, Red Lion Crest. I was thinking good. I thought, well, I mean, it can still be done.
Right? Lion Crest?
Yeah.
It's too bad because actually, I mean, one of the really most powerful cards that's available to Athena. It's almost like, I think it's a really cool design where it's not a character only, but it kind of sort of really is Psychometric 13, and that's an attack that if, Red Lion Crest could protect, make it into an 8-speed high for 8 powerful 4 that you can then stack up more buffs onto and have a completely unstoppable attack that way. That could be a really interesting direction to go into.
Or why not have Soul Gaze or stuff like that in the deck?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh shit.
I think it was a really.
Did I do that thing again where I named a good combination?
No, sorry, Joe. Kind of half that, half people being idiot things happening across the world that I can't do anything about.
Oh, the France thing.
Yeah, I just saw the news on it.
Yeah.
All right. But back to anything else. One
more.
We got one more deck. We got the.
Yeah, I clicked on me on accident. I'll bring it back in just a second.
All right. We'll talk about. I got it up right here. We got Ben Shoemaker playing himself, riding on Two-Fists.
See, now I do have to ask because we all know Ben. Does this constitute as a double entendre?
Why? What do you mean?
Ben Shoemaker playing Ben Shoemaker.
A double entendre? Like I don't know what you mean. Do you know what a double entendre means?
Yes, that's why I'm making the joke.
Okay.
It's Ben.
I will say this: I did not expect him to play air, but I understand why. Yeah, I don't know. I think I want to play this. I have a list for him. I just need to get one.
Yeah.
I just want to play fire. I just want to play fire and just launch my blow up my board. It's like coming in, eat this. But yeah, Ben Shoemaker playing himself. Good job. It's it's air. Air has everything. Air. He's playing for Artifice Avarice. He is playing for Summer Heat. It's the air. It's all in. I love it. It's playing Iron Will. I love seeing Iron Will being played.
Yeah, man. If you wanna have your opponent be really uncomfortable, you play a 7-speed high for 10 concussion blast with Flash. That's a bad time for anyone.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, this deck is really powerful. And I don't know. I didn't really see it in action. I know that on Sunday, a whole lot of people were just jamming matches of Fire Build with Ben versus this deck, and just slamming into each other and having a great time. And so I think it's a very successful champ card design that enables people to do that. I don't know if you can really stop it really well. I think it's a very good deck. but I don't have much more insight into it.
All right. So let's stop looking at that. Gotta ask, were there any problem cards you saw in the PTC, or was everything pretty copacetic all the way
I
through?
mean, everybody before this event was like, Natali's going to be an issue, Natali's going to be an issue, and there was no Natali. Like, it looks like she flashed in the pan almost.
Yeah, I think several people signed up with Natali, and they didn't quite put up the 2 losses or better records. There was a 12. I think top 8 went down to 12th place. You know, in terms of people tied on or missed on breakers, including 2 Felicias, a Mark Wazowski's Snake Man deck off Life that was really cool. I can't remember who else was in that scrum. Should know that. It might have been an Evil Mature deck, I think. But anyway, I think the card that was on a lot of people's minds that people want to complain about was Summer Heat, and we saw several Summer Heats in the top 8, as well as, in a weird way, I feel like the 5 hand size decks, Clark and Jeremy, a little bit prey on Summer Heat decks, because a lot of times you just say, well, I'm going to get this incremental advantage, and then I'm not going to worry about my kill condition until later, and then they make it so your kill condition doesn't actually go far enough. But yeah, I feel like people just complain about Summer Heat and Templar now. That's about all anyone has to say.
Summer Heat and Templar. Friends forever.
Next,
Well, we know
I think
Templar's not going anywhere for a while, is it?
Templar's not. Summer Heat could go either way, but we'll see. I don't.
I think
I kind of accepted it. I hate. It's one of those situations where I'm like, I'm accepting this. I'm gonna. But eventually, they're just gonna have to like. I thought when we got to the Delta Kick thing started taking off with Kevin, I thought like maybe we're gonna finally see it. Like, oh, maybe this is a little too good. Incremental event, really good on incremental event for high hand size characters. And then like nothing happened. I'm like, I'm at that point where I'm just like, I want to play an all deck, and I just want to play like that card, Partners in Crime Fighting. Like I want to I want to play Artifice Avarice. I just want to play the plan and just be like, get there. Especially if they don't change Partners in Crime Fighting's ruling and it's a Shinobi for once a turn, I'll just have all the fun.
I know. So one of the decks that we thought of at some point on our little vacation that Sean, Christina, and I took was to play good simple Sasquatch and play Tribal Protector and Partners in Crime Fighting, and then back them up with Armor Expert. So no one ever gets above 10 foundations, but Sasquatch never gets above 10 foundations because he keeps blowing them up, and then you keep 2 of yours capped, and all of mine do double or triple duty.
Wow. All the duty. I like it.
But so as far as like the format right now, I kind of feel like, you know, week 1, Natali seems really dominant because she has a better offense than almost anyone else. And
she had a missile. Like, and
yeah,
now it's like, but now everybody knows it's coming.
You put Chasm Buster and Dragon Flare in your deck, and now you just need a couple, 10 more attacks or whatever, and they're just kind of filler around your hardcore of Chasm Buster and Dragon Flare. And people have kind of figured out other decks that have offenses that have a similar level of potency, like Shoemaker's deck, like Wagner, like Athena. All these decks can blow people up in sort of the same sort of way, and at the same time, you can go the other direction too. You can play a more controlling deck like Dimitri, like these 5 hand size characters. And so I think the format is healthy. There's a diversity of options, but every deck is really good at what it does too.
No, I'm fine.
Well, cool. I mean, overall, the event went really well. There was Bo Tucker who was the TO.
Yep, Bo ran a really tight ship. We had a bit of a hiccup with the tournament software, dealing with a late registrant after round 1. But aside from that, everything went extremely smoothly. Like he printed out slips every round, he handed out promos every round, and it was sailing.
How was the price support? Like pretty consistent from the most recent BTCs, kind of like things were. I don't know what they're handing out right now. Did they nothing special got sent? I'm assuming.
Well, we did get the Exceed Kickstarter whiteboarder cards
Oh,
flying around. I think everyone got a Death Valley face plant after round 5 or so. I know. I think there were 2 summer heats passed out as round prizes. I know we got some blaze whips and stuff. A pretty good spread of
wait
support.
a minute. So those whiteboarder Death Valleys are floating around now.
Yeah,
I got my hand on a set of those. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, definitely want those.
it's a good promo. I really like it.
I mean, it's like it's like one dot Natali, the Death Valleys, and Silence. Those are the whiteboarders, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, they look really cool. They actually look really. I won't lie. I do like the Sagaki offerings. I like how they look on the whiteboarder. Like you don't need to do like what they do with the Templars, where they kind of like are grayed out a little bit. Like there's a way to do them where it
Yeah.
looks good.
All right. So we got 2 KOF videos to show you. They're pretty brief.
KOF,
Good old
my
four-
my team.
This is your team?
I mean, I can't back Mexico anymore.
Why can you not back Mexico? No, really. Why can you not back Mexico?
I just don't like I don't like the fact that they pretty much have I don't like the wall grappling. I like this team more. They're hard hitting,
It's just Raymond.
but I don't like the rest of the team. I really don't like.
You don't like King of Dinosaurs?
I watched the full move set of him, and I do not. I'm just not a fan of his style.
Does he have the T-Zoc moveset still?
He's pretty much Zangief.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with this.
That's why I want to play. There's one of the new guys. We'll talk about him after really quick here.
All right.
Let's show the trailer. Yup. I want to play Butler.
I like he's got gravity-based powers. So if you pre-order KOF, you get this guy.
Oh.
Hey, count out. Round 1. Ready? Go! Player 1 wins.
Oh, it looks so good. He's like straight up undead now. I love it.
I like that his super has OTG. And where did Kevin go?
Kevin, I think Kevin stepped away for a moment.
Okay.
But it's fine. Sometimes you need to. Yeah. So KOF, another week, another trailers, DLC exclusives now, stuff getting posted for pre-ordering. Great things.
Yep. It's a
All
cool
right.
skin. Let me think. What else we got? Do we think that Jasco made a mistake or came up with a good idea about posting the showdown match between Jason and Chris Pratt? For those of you that don't know, it's going on this weekend. It is during the Magic Sneak Peek weekend, which a lot of us, and I don't know how many of us, I know I'm not going to because I play RDW. It is the only Magic deck I will ever own. Uh, Eldritch Moon does not do anything for RDW. It does not.
That's Red Deck wins, right?
Yeah, it's Red Deck wins that I can modulate it into Righteous Bloodlust with Hoplites for modern, or Infectious Bloodlust, excuse me, into an Infectious Bloodlust Hoplite deck for modern. So I'm not going because, like I said, there's nothing in the set that's really for my RDW deck. Our concern is we understand it's a live event, and I'm sure Jasco wants to see more people live for this event, live watching rather than watching later on. We're just kind of wondering if it's just bad timing or Jason did this on purpose.
I think he chose a date that worked for everybody involved. I could tell everybody who the special guest person is going to be commentating this event. I'm going to be nice though, but if anybody knows, there's a certain world champion that's in Vegas right now. Decided to stop in Vegas after the Pro Tour.
Is it Garrett Brett's mustache?
It might be Garrett Brett's mustache. Might be taking the time.
You don't understand. We don't want Garrett Brett. We just want the Garrett Brett mustache.
It's
like
a
the Cody,
former world champion.
It's like the Cody Rhodes
Las Vegas.
mustache. The mustache is more than the guy that it's on.
Yeah, so I know they have announced that it's going to be their streaming service to make it the best production they can make it. So I think that's a really good point that they had to pick a weekend, pick the best time they could within the constraints of getting Jason out there, within getting the streaming services out there, with getting the studio or whatever they're streaming it at, and getting obviously the Challenger, or I suppose the 9-0 Lord Raptor, getting that in the booth as well. And so, was it deliberate to put it against a Magic pre-release? I mean, I can't imagine that's part of the like a silly fight to pick. I can't imagine it hurts them that much, and it'll make it just look all the better, and their viewer numbers double next time when they're not against a Magic pre-release.
I like that if they give it the right production value, like I'm hearing it's gonna have, it'll be something I'm really like, hey, we can share this. Like, you want to see UFS at a high club competitive play and see a good video of it? Here you go. That's what I'm hoping we'll get out of this, and that'll be kind of cool to have.
Do we have to have Death Robert in it?
I'm just saying that maybe that's just Jason has just decided to go with, and we'll see how this goes.
Now, I want to know if Jason actually has a secret Death Robert that's like a box topper that was never printed for
Or a foil. He's got a foil one specially printed for him.
Yeah. No, it's like different abilities. It has Robert. It's got all the Robert symbols. It's just a different Robert that was never released. That was like a box topper for hours of time to promote Neomax.
And it's just
I don't think it'd be that crazy, but it'd be pretty cool.
They cut out Jason's text box, so he says, like, after you make a control check, add it to your momentum, your attack gets powerful X equals your momentum. And then just, like, one-shots Chris off the face of the planet on reversal.
Oh, jeez.
I wouldn't be surprised. So,
I would not be surprised to see people getting one-shot reversaled off the face of the planet, but I hope it's using Robert's own ability.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's the one thing I think about playing Robert. Robert, I mean, you got like Brett Blaze played Robert at the Rochester PDC. I no one's ever played Robert where I've watched it play out outside of like when the set came out during the pre-release, and I'm like, Robert could just kill you out of nowhere, and you're just like, wow, the numbers just add up right now, and you're dead. No reversal, just like
Oh,
this and up smash, you're dead.
yeah, and actually, up smash is an absolutely unreal card in him. Like you play it as your third attack, you tap out half your save here, you put all the speed you can on it, and then you say, here, I'm going to get a momentum, I'm going to combo it, and then I'm going to powerful for plus at least 6 more on top of that. You know, that's a kill shot right there.
Yep.
I remember Ryan Field, the first event after Neomax was legal, built a Robert deck, and I was terrified the entire time playing that thing. I was playing all deck at the time. Kapoga Training doesn't do anything against, or maybe it does actually. Maybe it does actually help against Robert because you take away kick. Never mind. But I was scared as hell because it's a little poke. You tap out to block it, you can just eat a ton of damage out of nowhere because his ability turns his hand into damage.
Yeah. I'm honestly wondering why we're not seeing more of him play, considering we have a wee bit more kicks. Is it because the kicks aren't viable for him, or
the kicks they are starting to become more viable for him. It's just not every. Like you'll see Robert again. Like Robert, the thing is, Neomax has got another year in its life cycle, roughly, and eventually you're going to see it show up again, and we're like, all right, there we go. There's Robert.
I think Brett Blaze's deck had a lot going for it that he brought to the roster PTC. I think the biggest reason we haven't seen Robert is just a lack of innovation. No one wants to put their neck out there with such an unusual character. Actually, Garrett Brett signed up with a Robert for the Atlanta Pro Tour, and his sideboard was 8 character cards, and he selected one at random in most of his matches. I understand.
That's hilarious.
The rest is pretty great, and Robert is definitely so one of the big takeaways I've seen several other players do, which is a cool strategic option you can do if you can manage it, is to switch characters and actually either drop or gain a hand size after sideboarding. So, for example, you build an Andy deck and you switch to Joe to get the 7 hand size, or you build a Felicia deck or a Jiffany Jamber deck and switch to Robert to gain 10 life at the start of the game, and then still have a game plan based around your tricks.
Wow.
Like, I'm just not seeing why we're not seeing more Air Roberts, especially with the Delta Gig Dashing Dancing Flash stuff.
Well, Dancing Flash actually might be a good option just because it's a 5-speed kick with 5 base damage. I think Dancing Flash doesn't see as much love as it should in general, and also just because it does require you to have the water symbol, which awkwardly has really frustrated me a lot because I just want to pay the cost of the enhance, and it won't even let me do that.
Yep.
I definitely think there's always 2 reasons why cards aren't seeing play. One of them is that the cards aren't that good, and then the other one is just that no one has figured out how good they are yet, or no one's.
I think there's also that third option that Felicia is still a viable character, and she's always going to overshadow someone like him every time.
Yeah, that's not wrong. There is the easy shortcut of there's a saying that I never want to play a bad version of some other deck, and so you can argue that. I mean, Robert has his advantages over Felicia, but he sort of is a bad Felicia deck.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else?
3 Felicias at 4 and 2 or better at the Atlanta Pro Tour, and only one of them made it in.
Yep.
Because of the diversity rule. So maybe you should consider that arguably worse character.
Yeah, well, like you just said, you could just swap Robert in with the Felicia deck. You go up in life and down hand size. Maybe you can tank out a match you may have lost because of light health.
Yeah, definitely. If you get paired against Natalia, switching to Robert is a very good option, I think.
You don't need to sit on a pile of momentum because you're just like, I'm going to use my hand now. Good luck.
Yep. And I highly recommend. I see a lot of people there's a lot of variance in how people approach Felicia, and I strongly recommend for Ryujin Kyaku's 4-up smashes. I think it's just a great card for Felicia. It's a great card in general. It's got a great block. It does a lot of good work, and then it's also incredible with Robert. So if you have access to them anyway, that's a good way to go.
All right, what else do we got? I know we don't have anything for this show. What do we got for next week?
Next week, we'll figure that out. We
Hopefully
have
we'll have a
no.
part of
We are right now about to head into the I'm referring to as the summer lull, which is there is no PTCs until the end of August.
We have the fallout from the Jason and Chris thing.
What follow up from Jason and Chris, obviously. Maybe one of them will be. Maybe the winner will be nice enough to grace us with their presence again. You know, I enjoy Chris Pratt, even if it's just Chris Pratt talking. I enjoy his audio.
And you know,
and if it's
Jason's
Jason,
welcome to come back.
Maybe we could beg. Maybe we'll see if we get some stuff out of Jason.
Chris Pratt has a melodious voice. I can confirm.
Yeah.
There were no spoilers this week, guys. We apologize about that. Of course, we really don't have any control over that. But, you know, hopefully spoilers will pick up back next week. We'll figure something out. We always do.
Yep.
Tuesday.
You know, if I recall Sean O'Brien from last night on Top Tech Heroes, he has a countdown that he's going to talk about every week of how many days left to Battle for Power's release. And right now it's 42 days.
Oof.
6 weeks on the dot.
Wait.
Yeah, so we're
6 weeks.
a little over a month.
This season's got to start tickling in here, right?
Yep.
Trickling.
Yeah. So we have a little over a month for Battle of Power, so, you know, we'll be getting stuff. The interesting thing I did see, and let me pull that up, because, you know, they did rework the Battle for Power stuff. It is officially on UFS Ultra.
Yep.
And the thing I noticed is that all of the characters now, regardless of what their rarity was before, are uncommons.
Yep.
So for those of you that were very worried that you were going to be needing to pull like 8 boxes to get a base, because I know some people had to do that to get like a Snake Man or a Proto Man or
somehow, yeah.
Cossack.
The ultra rare character conundrum.
That is no longer going to be the case in that. And it looks like Ultra Rare is going to be going to Attacks, Foundations, Assets, and Actions, which is a very, very good improvement for both the player base and for the secondary market. Because, you guys, I don't know if you know this, but the secondary market loses money on Ultra Rare characters.
Well, you know, ultra rare characters usually just aren't in very high demand. I think we saw if Gemini Man were ultra rare, we might have seen an ultra rare character that was worth a few dollars and wouldn't lose money when you opened one.
The only way an ultra rare character becomes worth something is if a set becomes impossible to get. Like Neomax. Neomax ultra rare characters are actually starting to have value. Like, you have an Athena.
I know.
I'm trading. I had at one point earlier this year, I had 10 Athenas. I traded or sold them at between 10 and 15 each because nobody had no store had them in, and everybody wanted her. Like, it was kind of crazy.
Or some other options with the assets to Forcer deck we talked about. I think the best one is probably Metal Man. But it's a much different deck, and it's not the same thing. You know, it doesn't have the explosiveness. So you really need Athena to play that deck, I think.
So good news for you guys and ladies, if you are a UFS lady. We know you're out there. We know somebody plays. I didn't know.
I believe 3 wins and a couple draws at the Atlanta Pro Tour. 1 win away from top 8.
Oof, that's good.
Yeah.
One character I'm actually surprised did not see in the top 8, and the top 8 was a Runica.
Yeah, she's been very popular.
I know there was one on the bubble, but that, like, I was kind of hoping.
Yeah, actually, can I tell you a really cool decision that I heard someone had made? Danielle Tyler specifically, who hopefully maybe will post her deck list to share with the community because it sounded amazing. Was playing Tamayose DeForest Runica with some of the similar toys to Athena, but because of the new ruling that the attachment zone is part of your staging area, or however that exactly, like, you have those cards. If you put 2 Battle Fists in play, that triggers Tamayose, and so she actually cut Summer Heat from her deck because she wanted to minimize her foundation count for DeForester.
Wow.
Yeah, she didn't
That's
see that one coming.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I thought that was amazing and really exciting. But she didn't make top 8. I don't know how exactly her tournament played out. But
Hey.
oh, and actually,
She won
there
the King.
was a
She won Queen of the Hill, to my understanding. She won the Queen of the Hill
Yep.
thing. They did.
Yep. 7 wins or something like that. I left before they finished. Actually,
Yeah, you guys had to start driving. You had to get back to Rochester.
Yeah, it's like a 16 or 18-hour drive.
Welcome.
I don't know because I fell asleep for half of it.
You've got mail.
What the hell? Did anybody hear that?
I heard you got mail. Yeah.
I heard. Joe, what are you doing?
No, that was my phone. My phone has that sound effect.
Okay, I'm like, what is going on here, and who is the idiot?
And actually, speaking of Runica and also somewhat of Natali, another really cool sideboarding tactic someone used was actually Phil Birch had a Runica and 4 Battle Fists in a sideboard
I saw that.
to destroy Natali.
Somebody told me about that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so, all the air cards still work with Runica, so
Yeah,
why not? And, you get to you get to slow the game down a bit, play it at your own pace, and you get to just take Natali's Panic card completely out of the game and pick Natali apart on your own terms. So I think that was a really brilliant piece of technology for specifically that matchup. Like, that's like the best thing you could be doing. And it's like it's a hard counter for what's otherwise a very challenging, very scary matchup for Felicia.
True.
So if I had not, I lost the die roll. If I hadn't gotten very lucky and had very tight play, I would not. Runica would have been in top 8 in a sideboard.
All right.
It was good. All right. So, well, Kevin, thank you very much for coming on. Always great to see you.
Yep.
Continue your grind for. I think you really broke away from Miles at this event. It sounds like because Miles did not.
Yeah, he missed top 8. I'm not sure how many wins he had, but I got a lot more points than him because my top 8 run, 3 matches played, 3 wins, winning the tournament, that's worth 11 points by itself. Plus, I was champed. So I got a lot of points on the weekend. I understand that Miles is going to a couple events in Texas or on the West Coast that I'm not going to be able to attend.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to make it at Nationals and at the other Pro Tours this season.
Since I think at this point, it's possible at this point, if we don't convince Giggles to go, it might just be you and me from Rochester going to Nationals.
Oh, no way.
Because I'm not sure if Sean Boyle wants to go. If we can't convince Giggles to go, I think you and me gotta find a good third and just win it, get you another asset. And I need cardboard before Matt. I just need to beat Matt use the cardboard.
I've committed to a team actually. Two up and coming Las Vegas players, 2 excellent Las Vegas players, Brett Hillman and Brandon Jones, who actually beaten my ass at Athena deck.
Wow, that's actually a pretty good team. Brett Hillman. I'll always back Brett Hillman. He's a good player.
I'm excited to do some decks with Brett Hillman. I'll put it that way. I hope we come with nonsense.
I will say this: my objective is between Amsterdam and hopefully if I can make it to Michigan as well, to lock in myself into a team. And I'm not a person who likes to do pickup on teams. I like to find people and make decks and confirm. So I'm hoping I can find somebody who really wants me out of it. Because everybody knows I'm good for a win once in a while. I'm not good for a win every time, but when you need that win, I'm the man for it.
Yeah, and I think you bring some original decks to teams and some decks that people don't see coming necessarily. And I think that's a huge asset. If you go to 3 stock decks, people can pick you apart. But when Raiden hits, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, like the one year, I will still stand by my. I played the Rhino deck, and all we built, we played me to just play against K-Dash every round. We're like, all right, Jesse, you're playing K-Dash every round. Guess what? Every round there was a K-Dash, and I was either I was 1-0 or 1-1. Like I think I lost to one K-Dash that whole thing, and I'm like, because there was one team that had no K-Dash, and I'm like, I'll play against the Paul Bittner, and we'll see what happens. Oh, what fun! But I'll find a team. I'll pull something together. Maybe somebody that I'm not expected will think I'm a good player and put me on their team. I'm trying to convince I need Rio. I really need Rio to win like the UK Super thing, and then him use his ability to come here, and me and him will team up, and we'll get Piglet, and we'll just really be Team Suplex City. That'll be the plan.
I would love to see that.
It'll be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah, it would be raw physical power right there.
Yep. I like that plan. Oh, who knows? I'll find a team. There's time. I think I have to find a place. I think I just got to guarantee a place to sleep. I'm more than fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to be a hotel room, and I'm more than happy to split a hotel room with a bunch of people because I just paid out my butt for a plane ticket, which you better start getting now because I understand some areas of the country plane tickets are pretty cheap to Atlanta. Rochester, they're not. I had to pay $240 round trip. That was low.
Yeah, that's cheap ticket in Rochester.
I mean, to be able to get a ticket to somewhere that's under the price of a pricing for PTC is really rare. So
even flying to Vegas has rarely been under 300. It's rarely been 300.
Under 400 even. I mean,
yeah, it's like 3 and change almost always.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like a month out, you're gonna be in the 4s. And
oh yeah.
Back up.
We'll see. All right,
yeah,
Joe.
It's good time for the UFS soon.
I know it's gonna come back. I just need that set to come out. That's what I need right now.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be huge. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yep. Don't forget, guys, go watch Top Deck Heroes on Wednesday nights. And we will see everybody next time.
Night, everybody.